a couple days. I
Our
was there
friend
a couple days ago.
Mark Hirschman, is it Hanukkah or Hanukkah? He said keep the hand in
Let's
Hanukkah.
talk about today's first
I'm just
race
asking,
that's now
man.
cut down to 4 horses, and it lost a major player.
First, we got to tell him about Naira bets.
We do. He's right. Thank you, Anthony. It's a
You're
good thing.
welcome.
I knew there's a reason you were here. There's some good stuff for you to pay attention to over there while I handle the heavy lifting.
Andy, it's sunny and cool here today, too.
Yeah. We'll match them to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. Head over to NairaBets.com for more information. Support racing in New York. And by the way, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Winner chicken dinner.
Wow. You can't. If you didn't take the bet, you'd have won. You'd have taken a lunch. You'd have won. I went with
I won
winter.
51. I won 3 on Saturday.
No,
I
you
don't
didn't.
want to be on Sunday. I don't want to be.
I teed it up for you.
2% rebate on Thursdays through the app and the app only on Naira Bet. Get an extra 2% back.
I had my money in the account on Friday. Right back in.
Yeah, well. Anyhow, as we were saying, race number 1 dramatically affected by scratches because as we take a look at Smile Bryan running second last time out, at the end of the day, he's probably going to win if he runs any number of his races. The problem is he's not a winning type, and with the 5 complexifier in there, it probably would have been favored, but you end up with a speed. And he's sort of the likely horse to beat him, and not saying Flying Smile Bryan can't win. He's now in the Noda barn. And I do want to show you a stat after this replay of the Noda barn's numbers off the claim on the dirt over the last couple of years. They're not particularly outstanding. It's in a 2-year stat. Listen, he's good enough to win this race. What's left in here, he's supposed to beat these horses, but he doesn't have much speed, and he's just kind of a loser. He's got 7 seconds and 2 wins. He's been short priced in a lot of races. Noda Barn does not have great numbers off the claim. I think this is a surprising thing because they're a move-up operation, and usually those operations have good numbers off the claim, and has not been the case for whatever it's worth. You're taking a gamble with a horse that ran the dirt once and couldn't put one foot in front of the other one.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago for Kian BC. I'm just hoping, look, Smile Bryan doesn't win. Cavaradossi won 2 races in a row and is sandwiched with.
But isn't he the horse most likely to beat him because he's supposed to be in front?
I would guess, yeah. Cavaradossi supposed to be in front and Tapizarians. You know, form has kind of faded since he was claimed away from Brad Cox. I thought Complexifier was a kick in the pants in here. He comes out. I was going to mess around. I thought he was.
Kick in the pants. Well, he got kicked in the pants. Yeah. He got kicked out of the race in the pants.
Kian BC. I don't want the rest of them. If I'm being honest, I just don't want the rest of them. They could win. I
wouldn't bet. The problem with Kian BC is he's a 10-to-1 shot, even in a 4-horse field. That's going to be a fraction of that price because he's going to get bet off turf for him. That's the problem with taking horses like them. It's one thing, and there's a horse later in the day that we'll talk about a little bit. Well, if you can get yourself a bit of a price with a horse that's a turf horse and you have a feeling that maybe the horse ran the dirt once and had a trip or something or whatever it is. Now you're taking a horse that can't run in the dirt based on his PPs, but he's going to get bet off of turf for him.
It was based on one race 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. That's one race that's so significantly worse than other races he's run. The only thing you say was a layoff after it, but this is a horse that was stuck on the turf right away by his connections. And it's not as though Charlie...
I don't disagree.
It's not as though Charlie Baker's a guy that's starting horses first time out in the turf too often. It's one thing if it's people who are constantly going to the turf. Charlie Baker has been leaving this horse in the turf probably for a reason. If he was, it's a 4-horse field. If he was 6-to-1, that's fine. You're just not going to get the price. Race number 2. It's a horse in race number 2 that is sort of supposed to win. Speaking of Charlie Baker, and we'll talk about excellent timing. Now, he didn't win his first race when he was supposed to win that day, but it's worth showing the start of that race before we show him getting run down the stretch by Orna Plenty, because he kind of blew the brake. And, if he hadn't blown the brake, I don't think he would have lost, because Joel Rosario realized what he was riding. You lose the brake, you can't take it away from him, but you think of what he had to do to get to the front in this race, whereas if he had broken well, he'd have been 2 in front right now without even being used. Orna Plenty also was ready to run. He rode a good rail in here. Excellent timing, did not spend a lot of time, if any, on the rail in here. So it's not as though he took advantage of that rail. And Orna Plenty had a lot of things go right for him. He's just supposed to win unless a first-time starter can run. I don't really know what to say.
So it's the tip last time out because Charlie Baker was pretty heavily tipped last time.
He was 9-5.
Yeah.
Good call. Make a great point.
He was tipped last time out. And now he runs into a horse who I got a little push on from the Mid-Atlantic in the 7 Lindros.
Ooh.
I was told Lindros said...
You got a Mid-Atlantic hotline at the house?
Have his running
shoes
on.
Really?
That's what I was told by not one, but 2 people.
But did you see either one of them? Because
did not.
that's like a rule, right? Is there?
Not with tips. That's just with the barn and that was Charlie Baker walking out with on her way on Saturday.
2 Mid-Atlantic tips. Boy, your tentacles reach far and wide. I got to tell you.
You didn't watch Game of Thrones.
The only person in Mid-Atlantic that even speaks to me is Gabby Godet. And come to think of it, I called her yesterday and she didn't answer. So
I texted with Gabby last week.
She did text me back.
I texted with her about the Krampus last week.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Got a little push, got a double push on Lindros, that Lindros can fly.
Really?
You know,
fly.
Here's the problem with excellent timing. The problem with excellent timing is
What's the problem
we
with
saw
excellent
the
timing?
break last time out, and
Breaks from the outside post today. He
I
has one start in his belt. Those horses
understand all
rarely
that,
don't
but
break well again.
But listen, if I'm getting some steam on a horse that's not only good, but both people said this horse was fast. You know, you don't break as well.
Do you think?
So his breaks like he did first time, and Lindros
do you
breaks.
think Dan Silver's betting? Wait, what if Lindros gets left his first time?
I'm not saying.
Do you think Dan Silver's betting him? Isn't Lindros a hockey player? Isn't he like Eric Lindros?
Eric Lindros, yeah. He
Think
was a
Dan's
flyer.
all excited about it?
I'm sure he is. He was a flyer, and then he wound up with the Rangers.
Should we
with
discuss Dan's
74
video
concussions.
that everybody's talking about?
Let me explain
you don't
something
want
to
to
you.
talk about it.
I'd rather not, but they're going viral. He's getting some steam with that.
You know, I get the feeling in watching that, and it's our friend Dan Silver used to work with us. You can follow him on Twitter, and you can watch the video we're all talking about. Everyone's talking about
Videos. There's a video a day.
Oh, there's a video a day.
Isn't
it kind of rip off of the Big Bang Theory with that flag thing that they? Big Bang Theory is a very funny show.
It involves an advent calendar. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
It involves an advent calendar. And for those of you who know what advent calendars are, there's a trinket of some sort. Traditionally, it's chocolate. I can tell you this is not a chocolate advent calendar. And there's a review.
I deserve this.
You do. There's a review.
I deserve this. We don't need to go any further with this nonsense. People can
there you go.
Find out on their own. Okay, so there's a big steam on Lindros. 42 Ace obviously had run. I thought it was good. 42 Ace got bet last time. I do want to mention this. That was in that week period when weird betting was taking place, especially in first races. So I don't know if this horse was really being bet or there was just something odd going on. We saw it at Parks and we saw it here. For all I know, it was going on other places.
He was a shorter price
than the winner.
Than Uno.
There was something weird
yeah.
going on. It wasn't.
Yep.
It feels like there was something that it wasn't CAW. It didn't feel like CAW money. It felt like there were odd bets coming in.
It's a weird board. Was Mascherano the favorite eventually?
He ended up being the favorite, I think. But I think somebody else in there was getting bet. And we had seen it a few different isolated cases. Occasion I had seen it one day at Parks when we were doing the Wednesday show. So kind of strange. Race number 3. Racing keeps you on your toes. Race number 3. You know, this is kind of a good old-fashioned claiming race. You know.
Straight old 40,000.
Yeah, it's just
I love these races.
there's some really good horses in this race.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of horses that can win here. Obviously, one of my opinions is that I don't really want Control Group. And we'll look at Malibu Pro beating him last time Control Group ran. I think was this last time for Malibu Pro as well? Yeah, last time they both ran. Didn't you feel like Control Group was second by default? And I wonder if the clock is starting to strike 12 again for him, and I'm going to play against him. I could see him winning. I'm not going to just rule anybody out of this race, but I didn't really want him.
Well, you know, I'm sure after the last 3 years of sitting here with me, you know where I'm going to go with this. I always thought this horse was better around 2 times.
You and Mike Dubbs.
And maybe that was because of his
What about his
speed.
mile and 16th race, the time before that at round one turn?
He's been running well, but I think you can argue that he's been running well around 1 turn, and maybe the 2 turns is going to wake him up. His problem in
So why don't
here
you pick him on
is,
top?
well, because his problem in here is, I don't imagine he's going to get the lead.
Don't worry, I'll get the picks while you're talking.
Okay. I can't imagine he's going to, you gotta stop. I can't imagine he's going to get the lead today. And I think
Couldn't get the lead today if he was in a full-out
well,
draw.
that's what I'm trying to say. So,
Well,
can
he's
he
been
win?
rating. He's been rating
He has
successfully,
been.
to be
He
fair.
has been, but
I don't know. I don't want this horse. I don't know. I didn't want him. You're hoping that Twisted Tom, I'm assuming, gets the pace to run at?
yeah, gets the pace. He gets the 9 furlongs. You know,
Yeah,
he's
I have him
5
second.
for 11 at 9 furlongs.
I'd put him on top. I switched so you and I didn't have the same
Okay.
picks all these
yeah,
races.
I
That's why
mean,
did it.
you and I kind of saw this race pretty similarly. It's one of these old-fashioned 40 claimers. You're a little bit more against control group than I am. I'm focusing on 2s and 7s with a little control group, and I'm a big control group fan.
That's fine. I'm not going to die
betting
on a
against
hill. I
I'm
don't like him. I don't like him.
I'm betting. I don't like legit.
We'll show Legit's last race, and I've got him third. I'm not sure what to do with him because this is not his last race. This is 2 races back. But to be fair, he met much better horses last time. And
he did.
I do know this race. He was essentially just picking up pieces as the race was falling apart.
Isn't he supposed to run Seafoam down after the way the pace unfolded?
Dude, he is, except Seafoam ran this day.
He did.
And Seafoam is good. And yes.
How much you want on him right here?
I don't think he's supposed to necessarily run him down as much at the way I would put it differently. I would say his race is a bit of an optical illusion because of the dynamics of the race. And it's not just Seafoam. For what it's worth, Todd has good, solid, stats first time for a tag, but these are horses that are 8 to 5 shots and 7, 8 to 5 shots, and that's not going to work. Now, this horse will be a slightly better price. So in that regard, it's not quite as bad a bet. I'm going to use him defensively. What I would say about that race was the entire field basically fell apart in the Seafoam race from chasing Seafoam. So he was second because he passed a bunch of horses that were gasping for air.
That's my
It's not that he shouldn't have won. It's that his second. It's a bit of a semantics thing, but what I'm saying is, yes, it's dressed up. It looks like a much better performance than it was.
That speed figure, that buyer, that 91, that is light years better than anything else he's run.
Well,
and now you have to worry about that not being, you know what I mean? He didn't really run.
But
he picked those horses up.
Wouldn't it be a very, very good example of the argument why I personally hate the bounce theory? Because I don't think bounce theory takes into account actual handicapping. I think bounce theory is a horse ran a big race, came back, and it didn't run well. No, horses frequently run their biggest races, their best races, because circumstance makes them upgrades their performance, like a horse like this, who got the fast pace to close, or they get a slow pace in front and they roll up front, or a track. Let me finish. And the track bias and those things. Whereas the next time they run, they're very unlikely to get those same favorable circumstances. So I believe now. I'm not saying that there's nothing to it. But what I think it is I think it's a shortcut. And
There's a happy medium. There's a happy medium.
I hate shortcuts. And you take a look at him, and he ran badly last time. Well, of course he did. He was running against not only better horses, but it was a slow pace. How was he going to win last time? Now, to be fair, he figures to get a little bit more of an honest pace today.
He does. He absolutely does.
That's why I think he has a chance. And I'm not a fan of his.
He's a horse that has a 2-year gap on his card. Now he's dropping him in for 40. He's going to be 2 to 1. What's he destined to be in here? He might be shorter.
I don't know. This is a very, very tricky race. And races like this are tricky races to know how they're going to bet them. I picked Someday Jones, who you've got second here. I know the last race wasn't that good. Those are better horses. This horse has run for a tag before. He's a 7-year-old, about to be 8. Where are they supposed to run him? The reality.
Full horse, too, by the way, which is odd. You don't see a lot of that.
You could stand him a stud. You could 40,000, get together. It's a mere bag of shells to a man like you. And if you found that briefcase full of counterfeit cash like Ralph Cramden, you could have been.
Easy come, easy go.
I was literally laughing at home watching that show the other day. It's such the greatest episode.
Coming in the chauffeur's
Art Carney's the greatest. I was talking about Harry and Tonto yesterday.
Wow.
Well, I was watching.
81?
75. Harry and Tonto, mid-70s. Saw it at the old community theater in Saratoga, which is across from
the... I felt like... I
saw it when I was in high school.
I saw it with... my uncle took me to the movies. Maybe they put...
I saw it with my father and our friend Sean.
Wow.
At the community theater, actually, way back in the 70s. It's amazing, because I was watching The Exorcist yesterday, which is one of my favorite movies. And I don't like horror movies, but I don't think it's a...
My mom can't
I don't think of it as a horror movie. It's Ellen Burstyn and that. You think of the movies she made back then. And one of them is Harry and Tonto. Yeah. Alice doesn't live here anymore. Which became that TV show, Alice, for all those years. Do you know who directed Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore?
I don't.
It's amazing you don't know who directed it. Martin Scorsese.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize
that.
The
Alice show, Vic Tayback was a big racetrack.
He's the only one, I think, that's in the movie and the TV show. I think
Interesting.
I think he's in both. I could be
wrong.
He had
horses in California.
What about Malibu Pro? By the way, why can't he win?
No reason he can't.
I just worry a little about the pace, but he can rate. Now, he might be better shorter. I wonder if 1 1/8 miles around 2 turns might be a little far for him. especially with other speed in here. If he was going to control up front, it
That
might
was the
feel
thing that
differently.
bothered me with him. In the 2-turn races at Oaklawn, he was losing ground.
What about roaming
in
a
the stretch
Union
and
off the
overs.
layoff? Rob
He's-
Atras doesn't have great, he's 1 for 7, 180 layoffs as a non-stat.
I almost
Such a small stat.
completely pitched legit and talked about him. The other the problem I had with him was not only his the layoff, but he's probably a little bit better when he's on or close to it.
Well, what if Dylan's aggressive, And what if Ectobar
Yeah.
doesn't have speed coming? He's another horse. How confident are you that Ectobar still is really good? And maybe he just gets away from him. I mean, Dylan's been at times
there's a
much more
chance-
aggressive.
I think there's a chance Malibu Pro's the horse that tries to steal it on the front end.
It's possible with Romero.
Yeah.
Interesting race.
It is an interesting
Love seeing a
race.
race like that.
Yep.
It's like that. Did you see that tweet I had last night? I was looking up the broodmares. I was looking up the second dam of a horse, and the horse was originally trained by Woody, claimed by Gasper,
yes.
then claimed by Bob Lake, and then claimed back by Gasper. How many horses can you find in the PPs of horses? The
None.
second dam with Woody Stevens, Bob Lake, and Gasper Machera.
Wow.
That was pretty great, right? All it was
Yeah.
missing was Bob DeBonis. It would have been like home, right?
Chasrig table.
By the
Yeah.
way, spoke to our friend Harvey Pack. You know that Harvey
me.
had his 94th birthday last
A
Saturday.
lot of people
Happy
were
birthday
asking
to
about
Harvey.
Alabama's call.
Har-
car warranty.
Yeah, you think?
yeah.
That's good call. Yeah, I talked to Harvey. He's doing well, so good to hear. Race number 4. Well, the entry is going to be tough. And I want to talk about the problem with the entry is I think that only one of them is really a contender. And obviously, and we'll look at Malibu Star, and I want to show the start of his last race and then the quarter because the bobble, he was a little bit slow in there. He broke down the inside, and it did definitely. He bobbled there, and that was legit. And listen, Full Impact came back here and just ran. I mean, he ran giant in his next start with a 94 buyer. This horse is probably pretty good. I'm not against him. I have an idea with a horse, but isn't he way the horse to beat?
I think so. Drawn outside now.
Century's going to beat odds on.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe they should be.
I think they should. I do believe they should be.
He had a very good trip, I thought, after the break, but he lost to a horse that might be a stakes horse, honestly. I mean, Full Impact has a chance to be pretty darn good. We're going to watch his entry mate as soon as we get that one up, Citizen West, who obviously is much, much slower. He did lose to Category 1, who won here, came back, and I thought ran a very improved third. I think got nailed for second. Because I find the comment in the racing forum, brutal trip, to be offensive. That doesn't help
tell you anything.
Tell people what the trouble was. First of all, this horse did not have a brutal trip. He's the number 3 here. He breaks a little slow, and he definitely clips heels. So the comment should be, off slow, clipped heels, dropped back. Because after that, this horse has a very good trip after that.
Saves ground.
Right, and comes off, so he's not stuck on the rail the whole way. So I get to the outside. I don't want to hear some big story. Brutal trip, please, to chart callers. You're not helping people by saying brutal trip. That's like what you say in the ground, oh, my horse had a brutal trip. What happened? He steadied after clipping heels. Now, to be fair, clipped heels, he lost some ground. Maybe his figure could have been in the mid-70s, second-time starter. So they could run 1-2.
Blinkers, Lasix. I think you assume the horse is going to break better than he did, and hopefully not clip heels leaving out of there. So
Okay, I'm going to get to Ethos, who I think is interesting. Do I think he's likely to beat the entry? Probably not. I'm not in love with him, but I thought he ran very well, actually, on October 8th. He was 3 to 4 wide. That was a day you wanted to be on the rail. I thought he ran very well. I thought he ran better than Risk Profile. Risk Profile came back and ran well in a subsequent start. That's the Sound race. The Sound improved 18 points. Now, to be fair, Instinctive Rhythm came back and won and dropped a point. Fourth horse did improve on the turf, I think, won on the turf. But I think that's a relatively live race. I think Ethos could be dangerous near because I'm not convinced he's a turf horse. I want this horse.
After the
I want to try
race
this horse in the dirt,
on October
especially
8th.
longer.
After the race on October 8th, doesn't it bother you to put him back on the turf? Because I'm with you. I thought he ran well.
A little
He was
bit
against the track.
And I will say something else. He was bad last time. He was
did not
bad. He
run
was
at
on the
all
rail.
last
He
time.
was bad.
Okay. I mean, right. He was following Winter's back.
Is it possible another maiden race didn't really come up? No, because risk profile, maybe he wasn't ready to run on October 31st, and this race camp a week later. You know,
yeah, 23 days. That's not Jimmy's move usually.
Jimmy's staying here this winter.
Jimmy's staying this winter.
What about Sewell Candy? Well, you got to have him.
You got to have him.
Well,
I mean, the
it's
way
not,
they're going.
but it's not Rosario.
No, Rosario's on Citizen West.
By the way, congrats to Kendrick on winning the riding title, the Aqueduct meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had him on radio yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow, he must have been. That had to be bigger than winning the Grade 1.
Steve Bick on Monday, me on Wednesday. I mean, he's just got to be
that's-
overwhelmed.
By the way, congratulations to our good friend Naja Thompson, who
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of working with at Naira over the past 9 years. I remember Naja's first day in marketing when I used to be in the marketing office where my desk was. And Naja, if people don't know, got the job as the Saratoga Breeders. Sorry, the New York Breeders.
New York Breeders.
And
Who's
congratulations to him, and congratulations to them. It was a great hire, and he's a wonderful person.
Who's going to become the new best-dressed person in the building now?
Second best. Race number 5 kicks off the late pick 5 at a mile on the turf. Amortization was supposed to be okay first time out. He kind of got going late in that race. They've tried to enter him, and he's been rained off before, or maybe it was AE.
He caught one AE, and I think he was one rain
yeah.
off.
I think he's probably okay, this horse, and he figures to get it done here, but I'm not certain. And it is a weird turf course. I mean, I knew you and I would both pick him in here.
Little push on the 8.
Ooh.
Got a little push.
It's a half to 2 turf winners, nothing special.
Yeah.
I never loved mine shafts in the turf.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
Really, Danny Gargan.
Little push.
I want to look at...
draws in, by the way, the 11 draws in against Jorge Vargas Jr.
Of course, there's very minimal turf pedigree, and that's
Vargas is
Why are the Frosteds on the turf? Why are so many...
Is it me or is like...
Are they running?
Have you seen... I feel like I've seen more than half the Frosteds debut on turf.
I do too.
Very strange.
I thought Vidalia was a little bit interesting. We'll take a look at the last race this horse ran. She ran up at Woodbine. Isn't she the controlling speed here?
Supposed to be down from the inside off a series of sprint races.
I'm going to guess, no, this wasn't the closing day there. Was it? No. Because they canceled that closing day.
23rd was closing day. This was the day before.
Look at that.
They wound up closing. They ran 4 or 5 on Sunday and then
Sorry what
canceled.
happened up there at the end of the meet.
Yeah.
A lot of good people up there at Woodbine. Well,
Jim Lawson and the gang at Woodbine fought to try to get that place back open, but they failed and they tried their hardest, believe me.
This horse, you know, I mean, is a half to a turf winner, fed business or turf? And this horse could just go to the lead. I thought this horse was dangerous.
And the horses that have run
should have had it higher.
The horses that have run in this race have not shown any speed. So
No.
unless one of the firsters...
Oh, no,
comes
this
out
horse is supposed to be
firing,
gone.
So it's supposed to rail draw.
This horse is supposed to be gone.
supposed to be
No
gone.
question about it. Unless, you know, you have a tip in the 8, maybe that horse has speed, so that's always a possibility. Broken Table is one of these Europeans. I'm assuming this horse was bought at Tattersall. I'm not sure. Maybe Maggie knows. I didn't look it up, but, you know, I got to use that horse. And I think Miss Bonnie T, the 1, is dangerous. I'm surprised you don't have Miss Bonnie T in there. This horse ran. That White Frost and even the runner-up, Liana, those are good horses. White Frost, that Mott horse, that was a very, very, very strong race. I don't think Free of the Press, who disappointed running 3rd, ran that badly. I think the first 2 were just very good.
Yeah, you could be right.
That was a fast race.
Right.
I was impressed by them. I'm going to tell you, that was one of the more impressive maiden breakers we've seen.
Yeah,
that or some technical analysis.
She was good. She was good. Two dirt sprints.
Yeah, I think that Mott is going to do very, very well with that horse in the turf. And I think Cherie DeVoe trains a 2nd horse. That could be a real runner. Miss Bonnie T comes out of a dangerous race. I think you're disregarding that horse.
All right. We'll see.
That's the first 5. Should we take a break?
I believe we should.
Come back to the
That's
late
what
pick
Francisco
order.
said.
Okay.
Break after 5.
We'll break after 5. We'll be right back.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at the Big A. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6.
For details on the Empire 6 and mandatory payout dates, visit nyra.com/Empire6 today.
Did you miss us? We missed you.
They miss us we ask them every day. You know the answer is yes. These is what we call a loaded
I don't ask
question.
every day.
Yeah, you ask almost every day. They miss us.
You got a lunch bet somewhere today?
You could try and find something.
So race number 6, I like Jimmy Jerkins here. Advanced strategy, that horse scratched. Cold hard cash away, scratched into. I was going to try to beat the favorite. Anthony, This horse is just too fast for these horses in all probability.
Supposed to be.
And there's plenty of speed on paper in this race.
Yeah.
Last Ace finally gets a dry track. Mike Beer's excited. He's been trying to bet this horse on a dry track for like
Since
2
the
months.
debut?
No, because he's liked it. The horse was scratched on a wet track at least once, if not twice. At the end of the day, hasn't this horse just been really good? And isn't this a classic Linda Rice? They
Last
get
two
good, they
races-
hold their form.
Last 2 races is supposed to obliterate these horses.
And going to get pace to run at? I just thought a very logical horse.
Yeah.
I really didn't have anything clever to say.
I think
mean-
the Rudy horse that I had to push on first time that ran well second
Well, how's
time,
this horse going to win here?
He's getting a fast track for the first time. I figured he'd be a
what?
little bit of a price alternative. I mean,
At a mile? With other speeds in here?
I'm taking a little shot with him.
He's 6-1 morning line.
He'll be higher.
He's
than that,
supposed to be
won't he?
26 to 1 in here.
Well, I guess. See, I was with you. I thought Jimmy Jerkin's horse was going to take was a little live in here. I guess we lost some money there. Yeah, I probably lost a little bit of my price with him today.
I don't get him. Jerry the Nipper is a tricky horse for me because I thought he ran super last time. We'll take a look at his race. This pace really fell apart. You know, he was involved in the pace with Riken, who finished last. Here's Riken's numbers: 77, 79, 31, 58. This was the 31. Also the last Ace, but it was a wet track. I thought Jerry the Nipper ran extraordinarily well in here, especially for a horse that was coming off of a 9-month layoff or eight-month layoff. The problem is you've got nothing but fast horses in this race. You've got speed from the last Ace. You've got Unrelenting Force, who's got some speed. You've got the horse. How about the number 14 Farragut? He's going to be close.
What bothered me the most about Jerry the Nipper today,
was good.
I thought he'd have the trip that the winner had last time. I thought he'd be off the pace.
Well, maybe he was fresh.
Yeah, and he was fresh, and I
Well-
think that's what was undoing last time. He still ran really well.
He ran super loud. And
Yeah.
the thing is, he ran a lot better than he ever ran before because his maiden win in February, and listen, a 75 buyer at a mile in February for a 3-year-old is fine for second-time starter, but he had the run of the race. The track was kind to speed that day. He was able to clear up front. He was able to set a fairly, not a super slow pace, but a fairly honest, a moderate pace. And he really, he improved last time. I'm scared of this horse. I think he's going to run well. I mean, listen, you've got him. You've got him in there. It's not like you don't.
I'm using 246. I'm going to use 246. I put the biggest price on top.
What's
I
your
just-
Unrelenting Force today? You just feel bad for Ray Handel? You've got him 4th.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had 2 scratches.
I got to have Farragut in there somewhere. I know he's been disappointed.
You're going
He
to
does have
get him
blinkers
a
on.
mile if it's the last thing you do in life.
I'm not. No, I've got him 3rd. It's not, and I picked him 4th, and I scratched into him for 3rd. I'm going to have him somewhere. I've been trying him, but I think the 4 and 6 are. Listen, they're the 2 favorites, and I think they're the 2 right horses. I tried to get a little clever with advanced strategy, and you see what happened. He was probably what price was advanced strategy?
That'd be sick. We couldn't be more than 6 to 1, right?
8 to 1 morning line.
8 to 1. All right.
Pablo Morales back for the winter?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I tell you what.
I don't know.
He rode fantastic here when he was here that first
Trevor
weekend.
McCarthy's
Trevor's here.
coming
Trevor
up.
rode
Yep.
great the first weekend as well. We wish them luck. Katie Davis, I saw she's coming.
Yep,
She's here
Katie's
as well.
coming up.
We wish all them well here this winter.
I saw Manny Franco staying.
Yeah.
Jose Lascano will be here.
Man, he's
Kendrick.
not leaving his good friends. Where are they going to go? Out Florida? We'll do much better riding here in a lot of ways. Race number 7. I mean, with all due respect, the purses are significantly better.
No question about it.
And they'll get and they're not going to have to try to get mounts away from the
Anybody,
riders they chase all year.
who wants to question the purse money here should give Ramon Dominguez a call.
And Joel Rosario is riding through next week.
And
He's
he's
going to
going out-
California.
he's
Yeah,
going out
told me
west,
he'd be
yeah.
here next week. Of course, he also told me he was going to Gulfstream, so he changed. He pivoted.
Yeah, I don't.
I think he made the right move. Race number 7. Even though your friend Lee Einseidler no longer owns him, our friend, you still stuck to No Lime. And if No Lime runs his last race, he's going to win. We'll take a look at it in all likelihood. But I'll say a couple things. First of all, he's got to get a mile. But the other thing about it is, I don't like how he was lugging in this race because he would have won if he wasn't lugging in like
Yes.
that. And when you couple the fact that he was lugging in with the fact that it's taken Linda 4 months to get him to the racetrack, she's running the same tag, I don't trust this horse.
I don't
Is that
either.
fair?
I don't necessarily trust him
He's
either.
the horse to beat, no argument.
I don't necessarily
Look
trust
at him
either.
lugging in like that. I hate that. Because I like the winner, and I said to you after the race, because you liked him, and I said, I mean, the winner ran the best race because he was involved in the pace. The pace was pretty quick. But I said I was lucky. That horse should have won, but he was lugging in. It cost him the race. But Sometimes they lug in for a reason.
I don't
Five to
trust
two more.
it. I don't trust him, but I couldn't muster up the courage to really pick against him in here.
If Anzio Beach had Joel, you'd have had Anzio.
The problem with Anzio Beach is Anzio Beach, and listen, I don't.
He got a perfect trip when he won.
He's right, and he's bred to really love a wet trip.
And they're dumping him.
He just
Christoph wants to
he
lose
did
him.
no running last
Christoph
time.
wants to lose
He's
him.
been in for a tag for the last two starts. He can he win? He can absolutely win in here, but.
Yeah, now listen, he was a little outside, and the rail was probably the best place to be maiden day, but he also got a very, very contested pace, so got a very good trip to
Yeah, he
close
just
into.
picked. He wasn't going a mile. He just sat there, picked them up, and got the money.
He can win. I mean, they are, I don't disagree
Yeah.
with you. I think they are the two horses to beat. I want to talk about a couple of, David's got Diane's Impassable, a reasonably short price. Geez, I didn't see that horse at all. I wonder, he's usually right. What,
Rudy made the big move.
gets bet, usually a short
Made
price.
the big move last
So,
time.
I thought there were a couple interesting horses here. One of them is No Salt,
Yep.
because No Salt took a ton of money in a very strong maiden field at Saratoga and did no running. This was a very funny one, because our friend Lee Heinzeiler, who still owns him, when I'm not in the air, I'm often sitting in the box behind where he sits. And Lee told me, about an hour before the race, this horse is no good. Every single friend he's ever had in life, besides you, showed up for the race, and the horse was bet off the board. But then he ran last. So the question is, maybe he was telling me the true story. But he ran so badly. The other problem with him is, though, he's going to get bet off turf form. So even if you're right about him, you're not going to get that good a price. But he is a little interesting.
Yeah, he's interesting.
You know?
He is interesting.
Okay, so I went to 13 because I'll go to a turf horse that's going to be a price in here. So at least in this case, if I'm right, I'm going to get a price. Now, obviously, he's not good enough to win this on his dirt form. He's going to have to improve. And there is a possibility he improved a lot in the turf because he had real trips even when his figures were low and the bad figure was a bog. He might be a turf horse. But I'll tell you something. I bet him last time, and there are a lot of variations, and we talked about this at the race, where he wins last time. He ran very well.
He ran well last
What
time.
happened to Kendrick was, I think Dylan Davis was riding a horse and made a kamikaze move around the 3-ace pole, and it forced
him to
Kendrick's
move.
hand to move early. Kendrick didn't want to move when he moved. It made him have to move then, and that's what cost him the race because he was right there until the very late stages, and that race just completely
The third horse
incinerated
shooting a breeze.
in the last.
He made the wide move
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the 10.
yeah.
shooting
I'm
a
not,
breeze.
and I'm not knocking Dylan. I'm just saying when Dylan made that move, it forced his hand, and that race was not a race you wanted to be forward, and he was forward regardless. He might just be an improved horse. I don't love anybody in here. I want to give him one chance for Charlie on the dirt, and
Yeah,
he'll
big
be a
pri- you're gonna
price.
get 15 to 1
That's the
on
thing.
him,
He'll be a
12,
price, so
15
I
to
don't
1.
mind. If he was 5 to 1 or 6 to 1, I couldn't care less.
Right.
But at that price, I'd rather take him at more than twice the price of No Salt. Though I think they're both dangerous.
Fair enough.
That's all I got.
Fair enough.
Should we move on?
It's enough. Sure.
Race number 8. I don't like to chalk out with these horses. Oh, but this, this could be one of your last chances for
I was thinking about
Clement
that.
and Rosario.
I was thinking about that.
kinda
And in
touching.
fact, when I wrote it down and I typed it in, Old Lang Syne was playing in my head.
Fresco got an abysmal ride last time. In fairness to Eric Hansel, I think he was between a rock and a hard
There was
place.
nothing he could do last time.
I'm not sure of that, but
Well, okay, well, here he is, right? He's in the yellow cap
he
outside.
moved way too soon, and he moved wide, and maybe the inside wasn't as strong on the last Sunday, though I'm a little dubious. I think it was more race dynamics. He just moved way too soon with this horse, but it's hard when you're getting a horse that's been getting in trouble, and I think he's a tricky horse to ride in some ways. Joelle's going to fit him better because of his patience. He ran very, very well.
She
in this
ran
race.
well.
She
Listen,
did.
I think
she's
I-
had
I-
excuses, but she's also lost a lot of races at short prices.
Yes, she has.
And she's not that good.
I am not one to shy away from criticizing a ride.
I'm not.
Quite
I think it was a
frankly,
bad.
especially some of Eric's rides. I think
He was a
going
victim of
6
circumstance.
furlongs
He was a
first
bit of a
time,
victim of
2
circumstance.
Last time,
It's
you
fair.
figure you just let her roll, get her out of. She's been in trouble so often. You just let her roll when you have the chance to. And look, she got cut down late in the game.
She was also wide the whole way.
She was.
That was the problem.
Well, that was the problem. But again, isn't it in your head that this is a filly that's got stopped a couple of times? You just want to try.
Some
and you
horses
wanna
make
know what?
riders look bad. No question about it.
Listen,
Irad didn't look good on her the time before that when he got caught in traffic. And Irad's won, what, 2 straight Eclipse Awards?
And they both probably thought they were on much the best horse. Now, you've kind of been right about her. She's not as good. Right.
Kind of.
But on paper, in these races, she's looked like she was better than these horses, and I think she's been ridden that way in the last
Okay,
two
I'm
starts.
gonna bring something up.
Okay.
The turf, according to the overnight, now I haven't looked out there, the rails are back down to 0 on the inner, on the outer.
You mentioned that on Twitter
the outer.
earlier this
According to the overnight, they're down to 0 on the outer. Maybe Francisco could look at one of the cameras and see for us. You know, Jose Ramos. No, that's the inner. That's the inner. What about the outer? Are you looking at it, Francisco? Okay, Jason. He's bored. That's his name.
I know what it is.
Okay.
That's why I
Does that
chuckled, Andy.
make you a little scared?
Yeah. Well, Canarsie Angel,
that
they becomes a
Canarsie
big player.
Angel can wire the field from the inside. That's why I have to use her. It's the only race on the outer today. I've got to use this horse. She was bad last time, but you know what? She was setting a pace in a race that just incinerated. And it's not going to be as quick a pace today.
Yeah.
I don't love her. I'm not, she bears out. She's got some issues, but
If this comes into play,
I'm not going to let this horse wire the field and say afterwards, what an idiot I am. I didn't use the inside speed knowing the rails were at 0.
If this comes into play, I think Dahl is the horse that's a little interesting today.
Oh yeah, she's super interesting.
No,
she's got
I'm
one.
just
She's got
saying,
one win in 7
listen.
seconds, and she's lost races
Okay,
at
but
some of the
she's
short.
gonna be-
She's a.
She's going to be twice the price of Canarsie Angel.
No, she isn't.
She's 8-1 morning line.
Baloney.
And Canarsie Angel's part of an entry.
Baloney. She won't be.
Okay.
She got beat a half length by Canarsie Angel when they lost. Dylan couldn't even ride Canarsie Angel that day.
So I thought Dahl was a little bit interesting. If the inside turns out to be good, and
Why is she gonna be in the outside side?
well, I don't think it's just the rail path. I mean, I think
Yes, I think it is just the
you
rail.
think it's just the rail? Okay.
That's what it's been the last 2 years. Now, it may be different after we've been racing for a while, because don't forget, those rails were down when the meet began, and nobody had been on those courses this year, the entire year.
Right.
So I think it's a very different situation. I just don't know where else to go. I mean, Summer at the Spa hung last time. Who else are you supposed to? I don't like Summer at the Spa at all in here. I guess the question horse is Astoria Kitten. And I know David likes this horse, Aragona. I got a stat for Danny Gargan. Doesn't have good numbers turning back. David pointed out accurately, he's 7 for his last 15 as David Aragona. While he's 7 for 15, he's 2 for 7 at Naira. Where he is he's very live out of town.
And the problem is, 7 for his last 15. Well, maybe it doesn't include this horse's race, but it could very well.
David's
include this
feeling
horse's
is he
last
wanted this
race.
horse to turn back. I don't like this horse. I don't think this horse wasn't getting it done race after race after race, which she's supposed to win. The one thing I'll say about her is she is the stranger in this group in the cutback, and we don't know.
Oh.
So I can understand using her protectively, because at the end of the day, Fresco isn't that good. She's going to have to work out a trip, and she's not that good, and she's going to be even money.
I know she's taking a big step up. She's taking a step up in class, but do we care at all that it's a keeper won over this course?
No,
Okay.
she didn't win. She beat a terrible, terrible field.
No, well, she did win.
If she runs her last race,
That's fact.
if she runs her last race,
No, that's
she'll
what I
be
said.
lucky to
I
be
said
6th in
I
here.
said it's a jump up in class.
You can
but
use her. I don't think she has a prayer in this race, personally. Not a prayer. Frankly, I think she was a little lucky to win last time.
I don't know if I disagree with that, but she's going to
Well,
be
you
a
asked, and
giant
I said
number.
no. Okay. Fine, I don't like her. What do you want me to tell you?
Nothing.
If people like her at 15 to 1, they're supposed to bet her. It doesn't matter what you and I think on 15 to 1 shots, but I don't like her.
I might use her a little bit.
Okay.
I try and get her in the try.
Race
see
number
exactly what
9.
I try. I didn't listen to myself the other day, by the way. It was a hot mess.
Yeah, it was a good
I
call.
didn't do anything. Well, I don't bet when I'm upstairs.
Race number 9. You're trying to beat him. I'm not trying to beat Bright. Wow, you've got Brightthorn 4th. Why is Brightthorn, and we'll take a look at Brightthorn's race 2 back. I know that Brightthorn's kind of a loser. Do you know what these races will do to this field? And Linda has big numbers off the claim with maidens. The first time she ran this horse back, she ran against Nashville in the slop. I don't love the layoff. I don't love the drop to 20. So I can understand taking a shot. I think putting 4th is a little bit silly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Because you don't like horses.
I don't like
significantly
I
faster
don't
than the
like
fields
the
they're
I
running against?
don't like the drop. I don't like. I mean, look, the race last
not
time
that
doesn't
big of a
even like. It's hard to really use that as any kind of a gauge. The only thing it's an indicator of is we haven't seen this horse for 3.5 months. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Well, I know you got to go to Eddie Barker. You haven't picked Eddie in a while. He's probably getting upset.
They like this horse first time, caught a sloppy track. I just want to take a shot on a fast.
Yeah, no,
track.
I get it.
That
I
was
get
it.
it. I get it.
Nothing here. I'm
I got
going
this
to
horse in
use
the-
the 4 I have on the
Scratching
screen.
the wet track. I thought Orphan Howie, you've got
Yeah.
seconds, a little interesting. It's not that the horse is really bred for dirt, so it's not just a horrible pedigree all around. But the horse ran fast enough on synthetic, and it does go to Wayne Potts. So I don't want to let this horse beat me. I thought this horse was the interesting stranger in here.
That was it. I'm putting a little Michael Simmons in with the first time starter.
How you doing, Michael Simmons?
Just in
What's your
case.
record, Michael Simmons?
Just in case.
What's your record? Oh, for what?
That horse got cut down the other day. That was a tough
for
one.
what?
4-1.
Who?
The horse we picked in the first race. When we picked the same horse in the first race the other day.
Amazing that horse lost. Horse was home free.
4-1.
Horse was home free. They knew the winner was going to win.
But isn't it
Carl Gross.
same price? 4-1.
No, the winner was like 5-2,
Sure. Thought it was 2 4-1 shots.
3-1 or 5-2. I've been favored.
Wow, that's crazy. But then we can't win. If that horse was favored over the 3 for 5 Michael Simmons one, we couldn't win. That was those coming down from Finger Lakes for Grusbach. You and I talked about this. We have a few. Some of the horses.
This is pontification time.
But this is more you than some of the horses you've gotten beat by this year. If we sat down and if I went through my phone and went onto my text messages, that list would be one of the most remarkable lists you've ever seen. I've had a pretty fortunate year. You, on the other hand, have taken some beats with horses that.
I've lost with every opportunity I've had. And, the market horse was the coup de grace, the Jimmy Ryerson horse.
Market
Because
alert
that was an
on Sunday
incredible
in the
situation
Stang
because
Stairs.
if the 7 doesn't stumble badly to start, it's either 7-6 or the 6 wins. Because the 7 doesn't stumble to start, the 7's in front, and the 6 able to stalk. Because the horse broke so sharply and the 7 stumbled, he ends up in a duel with the 7, and it sets it up for the horse that ran 1-2.
You're going to be 11 and a half, 11 and a quarter.
That was the horse was an hour the best. That was, well, actually, you don't know how well the 7 could have won, but of the others in the race.
Right.
I lost my mic.
Well, mine fell off today earlier
That'd be
too.
a sign that
Yeah.
we should go.
Hey, we
It's
could
this
do
time.
it. Johnny I.
like
Johnny
this.
I's waiting for you, but we got to tell him where to go first.
To Naira Betts.
Yeah.
If you're not a member of Naira Betts.
That came out wrong, everyone.
Good call by you that they would switch this thing.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. I'm shocked. Yeah, I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
Why do we still have the discovery? What is the discovery winner on
Match
here?
200.